And the government's crackdown on large tech companies has given some investors pause, but according to our next guest, it's also created a bit of an opportunity for smaller players in the growing online ad world. Now, you may not have heard of Taboola, but you've definitely probably seen ads like this at the bottom of different articles that you've ran across on the web. These are all powered by Taboola, a native advertising company that partners with folks like NBC News, CNBC, Sony, and a lot more. The work that the company does is at the heart of the debate about data privacy and online spending. And joining us right now is Adam Singolda. He's the founder and CEO of Taboola, and it's very good to see you. I see these ads.
Thanks for having me.
Constantly. And I want to ask you about some of these ads themselves, but one of the questions we ask a lot of folks, especially in the retail world and elsewhere, is if you couldn't advertise on Facebook or Instagram or Google, could you even have a business today? And so my question to you is, do you think you could?
Well, I think that's part of the problem. I think today the reason we're spending so much time with FANG in general is because so much of advertising budget's going only to two, maybe now three companies. I am optimistic because I think we're seeing a slew of new companies that are going public and worth almost $250 billion, and companies like us that are still small, only a little over $1 billion in revenue, but give small businesses and brands an opportunity to maybe explore other options.
Let me ask you an antitrust question. Do you believe, so it's not illegal to be a monopoly. So if Facebook has done this legally and on its own without trying to maintain its monopoly or create the monopoly illegally, there's technically no problem with that, right? Do you believe as a competitor, if the FTC called you or the Department of Justice called you and said, are these people doing damage to your business through either misleading people or doing other things, what would you tell them?
I don't think they're misleading people. I think that the main challenge is that you have primarily two channels to spend money, which creates disadvantage from pricing perspective.
Right.
It creates disadvantage from data access. So I don't know how to answer whether they're a monopoly or not. I do think when you reach 2.7 billion people, it's worth a look.
But I guess my question to you is, do you believe that they're doing something fundamentally right now to disadvantage competitors? Because that is actually, from an antitrust perspective, we can talk about all the privacy issues in the world, but that's fundamentally the monopoly issue.
Right. I don't know if it's proactively or not. When I look at some of the past initiatives, like instant article for publishers, when they host content within Facebook versus allowing traffic to go back to journalism, to me that was a mistake, and that mistake cost a lot to journalism, and it's only big enough because they're so big. So I don't know if it's proactive or not, but when you're so big, even a mistake that happens by mistake is significant.
Okay, I want to talk to you about these ads on the bottom of these stories. You probably see them too.
Squawk Box.
On Squawk, by the way, they're on CNBC's site as well. They're on everybody's site. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Oftentimes I look at these things and they look like articles. You click on them. Some of them are articles, some of them are not. Some of them are like slideshows. You have to get to like the 30th thing to actually get there.
Right.
What's happening, and how am I supposed to feel about this?
First, Andrew, I'm happy you're clicking on it.
I'm definitely
you're part of the
clicking on
system. It is important.
I'm clicking away. I'm clicking too much. That's the problem.
That's good. I'll take it. The way I think about it and the way Taboola thinks about it is we spend time making sure there's no fake news and inappropriate content, and we have human beings that monitor everything that goes onto our network. But then beyond that, it's really a mix of serious, highbrow content, such as CNBC, but all the way to fun and entertaining stuff. I mean, I have no problem with Kim Kardashian. Some people like it. So I don't think it's wrong to recommend fun things. What we do care about is to make sure there's no inappropriate stuff on the web.
How do you suck me into these things?
I never get to the one that gets me to click on it.
Oh.
Well, the one where it says like they
click and then
the child star looks like this now.
Looks like this now.
And I never get to that. I see some other really interesting ones before that.
On the way there.
Yeah, on the way there. But I never do get to the one that I did it for.
I think what happened.
No idea what Pamela Anderson looks like now. And
nobody does. I'll tell you. I think that there is a trend of clicky content. I think, companies like BuzzFeed have created a whole new trend that millennials and younger audiences really, really like. I always say at the office that only old people use the term clickbait. Young people love it. It's the only way they consume the news. Even the New York Times have clickbaity titles because people like to get in and chime in.
But do you think that you're attracting a certain type of advertiser through Taboola as opposed to a different type of, some of the folks who are advertising, for example, on a Instagram or Facebook? Is it a different... Is it a different advertiser? Because I don't see those kinds of advertisers on those sites, and I wonder, is that because of the pricing? Why am I not seeing that there, but I am seeing it here?
I think every advertiser working with Taboola has an account on Facebook, maybe unfortunately.
Okay.
But they have 7 million advertisers. We have 20,000. And, they're still 60 times bigger than Taboola. Right. So we have more roads to go. But there's no advertiser working with us that does not have, and that's to your earlier question, everybody have a Google or Facebook account. We just have 20,000 of them.
Okay, so I asked you a lot about Facebook in the beginning, but where do you stand on Google? And is that different to you? Meaning, do you think that they're advantaging or disadvantaging you in any way?
Not really. I think they go after a much different bucket, but I do think Google is facing their own Facebook moment, with advertising slowing down. And I think they might have to introduce some sort of Libra, Calibra initiation of their own, trying to look for the next search engine type of growth.
Wait a second. So you think Libra is Facebook's next answer to where you find the growth?
I think nobody, maybe outside of Joe, likes to dislike Facebook more. But I think that with a company like Facebook that really owns their ARPU, in my opinion, with 2.7 billion people, with so much growth in stories in Asia Pacific, why launch Libra? Why do it unless you know something that we don't know? Unless you need some sort of growth engine that goes beyond advertising, or maybe because you see privacy looking at your business. So I do think it's interesting to launch Calibra as a wallet. I do not understand why they need Libra. And I do think Google might have to, they spend billions of dollars on non-advertising initiatives for years. Some of it has to pan out.
I'll give you a less conspiratorial view.
Please.
Dave Marcus, who is the man behind Libra. I think you had Mark Zuckerberg interested in crypto, generally. I think you had Dave Marcus wanting to do something like this. I think he was going to think about leaving. I think if you wanted to keep him, no, I think there's a much more sort of rational version of how this actually came about.
You launch a global currency to keep one of your key employees. Okay, you can do that.
Because it costs nothing to do. It's like a free option.
Andrew, my opinion.
Sure, but I think that's how we got here. I think that's a much more rational.
I'm with Joe on this. I don't know if you do something of that magnitude to keep a person. By the way, if they do, kudos to them from a culture perspective for doing anything to keep strong people. But I think Calibra makes sense because when you follow WeChat playbook, it makes sense to enable payments. Why get into crypto? Why getting into something that's so controversial in this world, especially when you know that in the past you have things like instant articles that have caused so much attention from journalism. So from my perspective, Calibra makes sense. Libra, I would skip it.
Yeah.